What was the most surprising thing from going to people on the street and talking to them?
Oh, man. I mean, Vegas has, there's a lot of interesting people on the Vegas Strip that you talk to. But the most shocking thing was just, I was asking people like, did you budget for this trip? How much do you plan on spending? How are you paying for this? And the amount of people who just did not have answers. It was just like, I'm just going to swipe and I'll worry about it later. Like that lack of, there's no planning. There's no delayed gratification. It's all instant gratification, YOLO. That's a problem for future me. And the problem is future you is going to wake up going, crap, like you got a financial hangover from how you spent in December. And so that's the problem I'm saying is no one's making a budget going, all right, we're going to plan $1,000. We're going to pay cash for it. Instead, they're like, well, I'll get the cash back and I'll make the payments.
What percentage of people said that, though? That they just swiped the card and didn't think about it?
I would say 6 out of 10 people had that mentality. And we know 6 out of 10 people live paycheck to paycheck. So I think there's a strong correlation there.
Yeah.
I think the problem with a lot of these things, such as like being financially disciplined, losing weight and stuff like that, is that there's never a stark punishment until it finally rains, then it pours. Like you're not going to be suffering from swiping your credit card for maybe a couple of years. And then all of a sudden everything adds up. Like I gave an example of in your own personal life in your book where it just got so much and then it infected every other area of your life.
Yeah, no one opens a credit card thinking, I'm probably going to carry a balance. Everyone thinks, I'm going to be the guy that pays it off early, on time, and I'll never carry a balance.
Part of it is that the minimum payment isn't even that painful. So if you just can pay $100 a month but carry a $5,000 balance, it's not that bad. It's not even a slap on the wrist. It's just slightly
you also never pay it
uncomfortable.
off.
Or you just never pay it off. But I mean, what are the it's numbers on a screen to a lot of people. So they'll just see the 5,000. It doesn't matter.
Well,
I
they
just
don't know
make
the math
$100
of
a
what
month.
22% APR is, which is
Right.
the average credit card interest now. It's at an all-time high. Credit card debt's at an all-time high of $1 trillion. And we're all wondering why we're broke. Fighting, and we're trying to fight inflation.
Are people broke? That's what I want to know.
They're not. Well, their consumer spending is way up. So if they are broke, they don't seem to care very much.
I see such conflicting studies.
I know.
Some
It doesn't
have
seem
more
like
money than they ever had. There's $6 trillion right now sitting in money market funds and in cash and treasuries, more than ever. But it also seems like anecdotally you hear stories of people who are doing worse than ever. But statistically, it seems like people are better off today overall than they were in 2019.
Well, I mean, America is an amazing country. So even a bad day for us is a great day for any other country. So we're just so spoiled. And there's a lot of entitlement here. And people have great incomes. People like to complain, but most people have great incomes. It's not an income problem. It's an expense problem. We see this. People making 6 figures are still living paycheck to paycheck, the data shows. So that tells me it's not that you just make more money and your problems are solved. You just have lifestyle creep happen. And, you make $100,000, you're going to spend $120,000. And that compounds over time, causing a lot of people to feel broke regardless of their income.
So what do you think of the long-term consequences of this? If people aren't saving up for retirement, maybe it's like this younger generation that wants that instant gratification.
Well, they don't want to wait 30 years to tap into a 401k piggy bank.
What do you think is going to happen in the future then to these people? Because this seems like it's a huge population of people that are doing this.
Yeah, well, I think the younger generations in a lot of ways are way smarter than our parents' generation. Like the fact that they have access to all this information is amazing. The problem is there's so many more traps out there. And I've always said, if you follow the trends, you're going to follow the traps. Our parents didn't have options. It was you put money into your retirement account and that's it. Nowadays, it's like, do I do single stocks? Do I get into crypto? Do I do real estate? The options are so overwhelming that there's this, paralysis by analysis. And people either don't do anything or they do a bunch of things but don't really make progress in any of it. And so that's what I'm worried about with the next generations is that they're not focused. And there's no consistency over time. And you guys know, like, building wealth is consistently your dollar cost averaging into the S&P 500 over time. It's the boring move, but it's the one that consistently will cause you to build wealth.
See, I just think it's so much easier for people who pay attention to get ahead just because so many people are not and just give in to whatever they desire in the moment. Like, I think it's easier than ever. If you put your head down and you want to stay disciplined, you're going to get ahead very easily.
Oh, and that's the thesis of the book is like the people say the little man can't get ahead. It's harder than ever in America today. Inflation, the housing market, and the guy in the White House. And what I've found is you can get ahead in America today if you just follow a really simple, boring, unsexy, controversial upstream path of getting out of debt, staying out of debt, have an emergency fund, invest 15% into proven things like the stock market over a long period of time, pay off your dang house and don't hang on to it in retirement with a second mortgage and a HELOC on it, and you're going to be okay. And that's regardless of income. Whether you make $40,000 or $400,000, if you follow those principles, you will be okay. But most people want to make it more complicated. They think they're smarter than that. There's pride, there's fear, there's greed, and it causes us to make really unwise decisions. And then people call into the show at 60 going, I'm screwed, what do I do? And it's just harder at 60 to undo some of those decisions.
So that, in the simplest terms, would be your advice to make any viewer watching right now a millionaire.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I know a lot of people out there are saying, well, leveraging debt is a part of building wealth. And while some people have done that, the majority of people will go broke faster. And so to me, getting out of debt and using your powerful wealth building tool, your income, is your best path to wealth.
So what's the difference between people who leverage debt successfully and make money versus those who do not and lose money?
Well, there's different types, like leveraging a real estate debt, for example, versus trying to leverage something else like margin or options calls in the stock market. Like that stuff is insane risk. Jack.
Don't do it.
And Jack can tell you all about
Jack.
losing lots of money.
Yeah, I got margin.
So there's
call.
there's different types of debt leverage out there. But a lot of the difference is luck and timing, if you're going to be honest, of like people who have done it well or successfully, or even looking at crypto. It's like people didn't know what crypto was going to do or is going to do. So the ones that have become millionaires, it wasn't because they were so brilliant.
I think it's a really small population of people, though. I think it's education that's the main differentiating factor between those who leverage debt properly and those who do it poorly.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of education. There's strategy involved. I've just found for the average person, there's a 100% success rate if you get out of debt and do it my way versus a 7% success rate leveraging debt this way. And so to me, I'm all about what is your surest best path. It may be slower, but you'll get there.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
And then the thing that I mostly have a problem with the anti-debt philosophy,
Give me the
is
beef.
The home loan. Why is it such a big deal to have a 30-year fixed rate mortgage at 2.5%? That's what I have right now. Now, you would probably argue, if I had the cash, to pay it off.
We know you won't. You have the cash.
I
You
know.
could do it today.
And I'm making money on inflation. Like this money, I'm able to invest in other things.
You could
and I
put it
can
in a
always sell
30-year
it.
treasury.
I could put it in a treasury and get more money
You
than
could.
how much I'm losing on interest.
My philosophy
And the
around
write-off,
that
Jack.
is in the write-off.
Thank you, Greg.
The write-off.
That's my favorite. The write-off. Sending $2,500 to the IRS is somehow better than sending $10,000 to a lender. That's the write-off right there.
Well, it
There's
takes
your
the
interest
2.8.
deduction.
It takes the 2.8 down to a 2.3. Effective. That's what the write-off does.
That hurts my brain.
2.3. Inflation is way higher. Treasuries, you lock in a 30-year right
Well,
now.
we're
like
also looking at a
4.5%.
very specific window of time.
Yes.
And so things are looking great for Jack on paper right now. But to me, we just don't know what the future holds. And I would rather reduce the risk, have more peace, have that money back in my life. Obviously, you don't have a huge mortgage payment, to begin with. You got a bunch of roommates. So you're doing okay. But for the average American out there, hanging on to the mortgage is not benefiting them in any significant way.
I think it would. I think it would reduce the risk not to pay off the mortgage. Because all of a sudden, you're going to do some math here.
Because you're saying the money's locked up.
Money's
in the
locked
mortgage.
up. Let's say the house is $400,000 and you have
Okay.
a $300,000 mortgage.
So
I think having $300,000
Talk about my
liquid,
situation. My house is paid off. The money's stuck in the house. I can't access it. I'm not going to do a cash out refi. I'm not going to do any of that.
Yeah.
Why am I screwed? At what risk do I have?
In your position, I don't think you would be screwed. I think in a lot of people's positions where they don't have a paid off house and the choice is, do I sell my stocks and everything I have over here, my investments, to pay in the house? Let's say they pay off the house. All of a sudden they lose their job. And let's just say they have children and healthcare expenses and things like this, and they need money. And all of a sudden they're negative every month. In that situation, of course they can get another job or something like that. But I would value the liquidity of having money on the sidelines much more than having it tied up in a property.
Well, we call that emergency fund, and that's part of it. We tell people have a 3 to 6 month emergency fund before you become a homeowner. And so let's say things went downhill, I would have my emergency fund there ready to protect me. And the idea of me being out of work for 6 months, I'd swallow my pride and go do whatever gig I needed to do until I got back on my feet. And for most people, there's very little interruption of income. Some people don't have to touch the emergency fund at all. But if they do, it's there to cover them during that period of time. So to me, I'm like, I don't need the wiggle room because I have my emergency fund.